Time for Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero. When it comes to news on 95.1 FM, weather always comes first. A series of storms are going to impact the state of Alaska with strong winds and heavy snow for interior portions of that state. Across the Gulf Coast, another system is going to track near the coastline, bringing moderate to heavy rain to the region through at least the middle of the week. For most of the lower 48, mild air is expected across much of the Intermountain West, stretching east across the plains into the Midwest. Closer to home, cloudy skies with temperatures in the 60s. We'll have another look at the weather following this news. A special meeting has been called by the Board of County Commissioners today from 10 until 11. The purpose of the meeting is to certify the canvass of the 2023 regular local election and request approval of a joint letter to New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham from Alamogordo and Otero County concerning pretrial detention reform. The Alamogordo City Commission regular meeting is tonight at 6:30 at City Hall. Only 2 new business items are on the agenda. Consider an act upon requesting written approval from the local government division of the Department of Finance and Administration, State of New Mexico, for the revised budget numbers computed as of November 14th. Finance Director Evelyn Huff will be speaking on that topic. Also, approve the Joint City Commission and County Commission letter to Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. Stephanie Hernandez will be speaking on that issue. We intend to bring you some audio from this meeting on tomorrow's edition of Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. The village of Tularosa is going to be having their regular meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. The agenda has been posted on the village website. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office has reported that one of their deputies struck and killed a bull elk with their unit on Sunday night. The patrol unit was significantly damaged due to that crash, but the Sheriff's Office says no deputies were injured. The crash occurred in Glencoe on Highway 70 just after 8 p.m. Sheriff Michael Wood reminds all that wildlife is on the move, things can happen fast, so remember to drive safely. The Alamo Senior Center is presenting the bread and cranberry relish sale. Prepaid orders are being accepted right now. Cranberry relish is $8 a quart. 6 rolls for $5, 12 rolls for $10. You can order now through noon on November 20th at the Alamo Senior Center reception desk. Orders are going to be available for pickup on Wednesday the 22nd. If you have any questions, call 575-439-4150. Katy City and Alamogordo Animal Control return to the mall this Saturday from 10 until 4 with an adoption event.
Please join Katy City at the White Sands Mall November 18th to adopt a cute cat from Katy City or a sweet dog from Alamogordo Animal Control.
Kathy Denton from Katy City speaking with Crazy Radio. The City of Alamogordo presents the Christmas tree lighting happening on December 8th from 6 until 8 at Washington Park. Food trucks, kids' activities, hot chocolate, and more are going to be on site. And, of course, Santa Claus is going to be at this free family event as well. The Cowboy Christmas Parade is scheduled for December 9th at 6 p.m. That's a festive celebration filled with Yuletide spirit and Western flair. This parade is being presented by the Alamogordo Center of Commerce. 575-434-6770 for details. Well, today is Tuesday. It's time for an introspective with Pastor Johnny Walker.
This is Johnny Walker with this week's introspection. We stand at the threshold of a new beginning, a new chapter in our lives. The elections may be over, but our work is not done. Now is the time to come together and support those who are working tirelessly to make a difference in our communities. As we move into a new season, let us not dwell on the past, but instead focus on creating a brighter future. Life is a journey, filled with successes and failures, love and loss. But in these moments that we have, the opportunity to grow and make a difference is right before our face. We must not allow ourselves to become complacent. We must raise our voices and stand up for what we believe in. We must spread joy and not hate, and be the change that we wish to see in the world. There is a fire within each and every one of us, a spirit of youthful excitement and passion. Let us not quench that fire, but instead let it guide us as we work towards a better tomorrow. Today, I call on each and every one of you to embrace the change, to support the change, and to be the change in your community. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can create a brighter future for generations to come. The time to act is now. Let us stand together and make our voices heard. The promise of tomorrow depends on the actions we take today. Today needs you, and tomorrow holds the promises of today's labor. This is Johnny Walker with this week's Introspection. We'll see you again next week, next Tuesday on Crazy Radio. But until then, we'll be at 3001 Thunder Road, New Covenant Worship Center. Hope to see you there.
News from around the state in just a moment. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
Directory Plus is the right size book. It's the book if you need a phone book.
That's what just one person has to say about Directory Plus. With its red cover, features, colorful yellow pages, and lots more, it's no wonder people all over use Directory Plus.
It has so much more information. You can cross-check phone numbers or addresses or pretty much anything.
Look on the plus side, Directory Plus.
I'm a big fan of Directory Plus.
AlamogordoTownNews.com is a locally owned website featuring local news matters from a local perspective that affects you, and we bring it to you directly. Plus, local sports, cultural arts, and events. Online, AlamogordoTownNews.com. Owned and operated by Second Life Media. We are Otero County.
A Farmington man has been convicted of killing his lifelong friend after she let him stay with her. In December of 2021, Thomas Howard was staying with Roberta Bear when he told police he snapped after she turned his 7 dogs over to the Farmington Animal Shelter, so he naturally strangled her to death. Howard fled to Chicago, where he was arrested in February of 2022. He's now been found guilty of second-degree murder and scheduled to be sentenced on December 11th. An Albuquerque Walgreens security guard was formally charged with assault after attacking a man with a baton last month. Martin Sandoval has now been charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon as well as tampering with evidence. Back on October 18th, Sandoval was working when he approached 2 people outside and told them to leave. They told him that they were waiting on a prescription, and so he left, only to return a few moments later. He again told them that they were loitering and then attacked one of them with a baton, striking the man in the head. The man suffered a seizure directly following that attack. Sandoval has pled not guilty to both charges. Santa Fe Mayor Alan Weber is proposing a ballot measure which would amend the state constitution and give local government more power when it comes to gun regulations. Weber plans to introduce the proposal to the state legislature, which would remove a provision in the state constitution. Weber spoke with KRQE.
So that city governments, local governments, are no longer preempted by the Constitution of New Mexico from having gun laws, gun safety provisions that are more restrictive than what the state currently has.
If passed by the legislature, it would be placed on voting ballots. Now, as it stands, the state constitution does not permit local governments, such as cities or counties, to make gun regulations that are more restrictive than the state regulations. But if this was approved, the provision would be removed, giving power to the local governments to add more restrictions, providing they still fall in line with the United States Constitution. Now, if this legislation passes, it's going to be up to New Mexican voters to determine the fate of this issue. So step right up and vote to forfeit your right to bear arms, which will not stop the criminals from obtaining their own weapons. Following several school shootings in the state over the last decade, law enforcement and educators are teaming up to find new ways to make schools safer for students, as well as staff in the state's first ever Safe School Summit. And it began yesterday.
I think that the discussions that have been had have been heavy, very emotional.
New Mexico Lieutenant Governor Howie Morales. Nearly 10 years ago, a school shooting at Roswell's Berrindo Middle School left 2 students severely injured. One of those students was left partially blind, Nathaniel Tavares, and he's now in college. But when Tavares is not studying, he spends his time speaking with students and educators and law enforcement on how to make schools safer from gun violence. At Monday's summit, Tavares shared his experiences and suggestions in a discussion on what tools and resources schools could use to reduce gun violence.
That we don't want any student, any family, community of any sort to ever have to experience such a tragedy like that. And so I've made that my personal mission moving forward to really challenge myself to do exactly that.
Tavares hosted a panel of several New Mexico students from around the state during the event, asking for ideas. Most of them agreed that newer technology and crisis training would help ease their minds. Those ideas include such things as ID cards to get into school entrances, improved school shutdown drills, and keeping a close relationship with local law enforcement. Others argued that the schools are in need of more funding to even begin thinking about implementing those resources. Now look, I agree that school shootings are a major issue in the entire nation, and it seems like it's getting worse. Every time I see it on TV or it comes across the newswire here at the station, it breaks my heart. I wish I knew the solution. A solution. The start of a solution. But the fact is, there is no cookie-cutter solution here. Authorities recently admitted that the gun buyback events from last weekend have no measurable effect on crime. That didn't make the news much, did it? Law-abiding citizens like you and me are not looking to hurt anybody. So we are not the problem. Therefore, asking you or me to give up our weapons is ludicrous. I just wish someone had an idea that did not punish good citizens and infringe on our Second Amendment rights while protecting the kids at schools. Does anybody out there listening have an idea? Anyone? Virgin Galactic laid off 73 people in Las Cruces, primarily technical operators. The company says the layoffs were necessary for growth, which includes building bigger and more efficient spaceships. Virgin Galactic says they're also planning to temporarily pause space flights next year. Company representative says the layoffs basically amounted to eliminating certain shifts as opposed to getting rid of some departments altogether. Jerry Pacheco is the president of the Border Industrial Association in Santa Teresa, and he was part of the team who secured tax dollars from Donna Ana County and Sierra County to use towards the spaceport. He spoke with KVIA.
There's a lot of confidence in the future for Virgin Galactic. It just needs to get through this valley of death, like that is referred to as entrepreneurship. The entrepreneurship world.
Pacheco says he still believes in the company's commitment to New Mexico and to the Virgin Galactic customers. The only way they feel they can do this is by building larger spaceships.
There's just a ton of people that have already put a down payment to fly into space, but they're taking them like 3 at a time, on the aircraft that currently exist. Now that they're going to expand, it's like taking a Cessna airplane for a 2-seater, and now you're making a 737 jet to carry more people. So apparently that is their business model, and that seems logical.
Employees who were laid off will continue to receive their salary through January 8th. Virgin Galactic will also continue paying for their insurance through the end of January. Sports and weather are coming up next. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
They are role models and educators. Their work requires a great deal of time and energy for very little pay. Who are these unsung heroes?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
The simple truth about education-based athletics in New Mexico is this. Without a committed team of coaches and administrators, they just wouldn't be possible. School sports, they bring out the best in all of us. This message presented by the New Mexico Activities Association and the New Mexico Athletic Directors Association.
There are 2 games scheduled for New Mexico football on Friday. Cleveland at Rio Rancho, Las Cruces at La Cueva. 7 games for New Mexico football on Saturday. Piedra Vista at Artesia, Eunice at Texaco, Silver at Lovington, New Mexico Military Institute at St. Mike's, Cobury at Robertson, Bloomfield at Portales, and Roswell heads to Deming. Your Crazy Radio spot on weather forecast for the Tularosa Basin today calls for cloudy skies, gradually becoming mostly sunny. Partly cloudy tonight, mostly sunny tomorrow. Your high today in the basin, 61. Low tonight of 41. High tomorrow, 67 degrees. In Cloudcroft, partly sunny today, partly cloudy tonight, mostly sunny tomorrow. Your high today in Cloudcroft, 46. Low tonight of 29. High tomorrow, 53 degrees. Local breaking news can be found on our website, AlamogordoTownNews.com. And you can learn more about Crazy Radio by visiting KALHradio.org. We've also launched the Crazy KALH Radio YouTube channel, and it features our daily newscasts, complete interviews, and other information which concerns everyone in the Tularosa Basin. That concludes today's edition of Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.